Kiely'S friend describes a Lord of the Flies party. Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. We haven't seen or heard much from Kiely'S best friend, Magdalene Larson. Well, this is her on the right. I think when you see Magdalene, you get a sense of just how young and vulnerable these young women were. But Sammy Smith, who seems to be the only person out of the 100 or so that were at the party that's truly forthcoming, she's admitted that there was a lot of illegal activity, fights, and that the party wasn't just scary, but that it looked and felt like Lord of the Flies. Now, for the uninitiated, Lord of the Flies is a horror movie based on the William Golding book. We actually had it as prescribed reading when I was at university. The book is really about the failure of civilization in the face of man's animal nature, and especially his savage nature. It shows how intelligence and sensitivity are taken over by baser impulses, greed, and violence. It also depicts how two tribes emerge in a group of young schoolboys and how the more violent tribe slowly steals and then ultimately destroys the tribe that has better skills and tools. According to the Daily Mail, Kiely'S friend Sammy Smith, who was at the party with her, shared footage of the party, and that is when she compared it to Lord of the Flies. She said, "I think a lot of them were scared to talk. They were engaging in illegal activity in the woods. It's like this Lord of the Flies space where they can just be," end quote. Now, I think when you're talking about illegal activity, I think it may have to do more than just with drinking and drugs. I think there are other activities as well. Bear in mind you've got young girls there, minors in effect, and that can actually mean very serious activities going on. Where people can get into serious trouble. And I think that is ultimately what happened. Didn't someone get into serious trouble? Kiely, being one of them. It's also interesting how often the word scared comes up. Obviously, we're dealing with young people whose idea of scary is different to a mature adult. And so we've got to think of this within that sort of mindset. A young person who breaks the law or else does something illegal, or someone who sees them, may of course be a lot more afraid than someone else or someone older, to talk about what is really going on. You must also bear in mind there are some laws that apply to young people that don't necessarily apply to adults. For example, minors can be guilty of doing things that adults can do, but that they're not allowed to do. And do you get what I'm saying? So Sammy Smith, Kiely'S friend, goes on to say, as she's quoted in this article, quote, "But it's also hard because there are so many teenagers. What are their relationships like with their parents? That can define a lot of what they're going to say. Are they used to hiding everything?" End quote. Now, again, especially when drugs and alcohol are part of the equation, lying and covering up is practically a default setting. Another thing I want to highlight here, and it definitely is quite disturbing, is the photos taken by the Daily Mail, exclusive photos in fact, actually show a forensic tent that has been pitched at the bottom of a boat ramp. And that boat ramp is accessed from the Prosser family campground, but it goes right into the reservoir. And what you could actually see there was they were using a small submarine, I guess a kind of a drone, but for water, and it has a camera attached, and they were trying to obviously look under the water using the submarine. And I think this clearly shows that the authorities themselves think a watery grave is a likely possibility in this case. The concrete boat ramp literally drops down directly into the water, and a vehicle driving on it wouldn't leave any tire tracks. That said, you'd expect if a vehicle went in there, it would be right there, easy to find. Well, has it been? According to The Sun, quote, "There have been parties there every weekend for years." That's according to Kiely'S mother and what she told the US Sun. She said, It feels like a safe spot. It's a campground with paved roads. They can sleep overnight if they want to. This community feels very safe. This kind of thing does not happen here. It feels surreal." End quote. And I think there's also something to be taken out of that. I don't think you go and say it's a safe area. I think you say, what was unusual about this safe area? What was something that wasn't safe on this particular occasion? And so what is the different aspect? So I think one's got to look at it from two dimensions. Did Kiely normally drink as much as she did, or was she normally as intoxicated as she was? That's the one aspect. The other one is, was this really an ordinary party? We know that kids from far afield came to this one, which is possibly why it became Lord of the Flies. Do you remember someone was actually quoted saying, suddenly 5 guys came up to her and sort of seemed to force her to use the bong, right? That 5 guys scenario starts to give the impression of another tribe that is present there, and the one tribe sort of taking over the other tribe. And I think that is why Sammy subconsciously thinks about the whole Lord of the Flies thing. In conclusion, Kiely's phone has been off since 12:30 Saturday morning, and that's according to what the police said yesterday. Thus far, local cops say nobody has come forward to say they saw Kiely leave the party. And again, it raised the question, did anyone see her vehicle leave the party? If not, then what happened to the vehicle? I think another thing that is worth pointing out is it's a nice vehicle. You know, a Honda like that is quite a nice vehicle for a 16-year-old to be driving. Well, did that thought cross somebody's mind? So I'm not going to take it further than that. I just want to bring up one more thing that is quite sinister in a way, quite creepy. And I just think it's a coincidence, is the hoodie that Kiely was wearing on the night that she disappeared. She didn't actually own it. It was on loan to her. But the words on that hoodie read as follows: "You don't want to be forgotten. You just want to disappear." So I'm not going to take it further than that. If you're enjoying the coverage on this channel, make sure you subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Also, if you're enjoying the content, you're welcome to hit the thanks button. For those interested in the Watts case, the next episode dealing with August 10th, the Friday that Shanann actually flew to Arizona. I'll be dealing with that on this channel a little bit later today. So look out for that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.